A lot of people want to break into the tech industry, and it can be difficult.
And they were kind of just showcasing like all the perks of a tech company, and I was like, I'm really curious what it's like to work here. Michelin star chef, all free food, multiple cafeterias, multiple baristas, and I thought this list would validate that I'm allowed to do more. And she's like, well, if you want to do more, why don't you just start?
I feel like at this point you don't technically need to do a corporate job, but do you like it? Okay guys, welcome back to Step by Step with me, Shelby Church. Today we have Jenny Park on, and I'm so excited to chat about all things really like personal finance, tech career. Jenny is a TikTok creator. Some of you guys may have seen her come from that, but she also has a whole other career outside of that, which you talk about on your TikTok a lot. You work at Netflix, which is like super cool. So we can learn about that. And you've worked at other tech companies, LinkedIn.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how I met you, was from LinkedIn. We actually met at a party that LinkedIn had. Yeah.
We met at LinkedIn, and I can give my whole spiel.
Yeah.
But at one point at LinkedIn, we were building out what our creator marketing team looked like. And so we were hosting a VidCon event, and you were there because we were trying to get you to be like an active LinkedIn creator.
And I posted a little bit, but then it's like, gosh, there's so many things to post on. You know, I should still post on there more.
I forgot that's how we met.
Yeah.
Because I watched your content a lot, and I think at a time, so to give context, I'm from the Chicago suburbs, so I'm from the Midwest. And so my first job out of college, I was at General Mills for about like 4 years. So I did like very traditional CPG marketing, brand building, loved that. But I was really interested in moving into tech. So I think in 2017, I applied to like a bunch of jobs on LinkedIn. And then I saw it was like when Forbes was coming out with lists of like top 20 companies to work at, and LinkedIn was one of them. And I was like, oh, I didn't really know a lot about LinkedIn, but they're like really known for like a really great work culture. So I applied there, got a job at LinkedIn. The transition was really great because my first job at LinkedIn, it was like in a very chief of staff type of role, because at LinkedIn at the time they were growing, they were building out their marketing org for the first time, and they wanted someone who had marketing experience to come and help build out like what a marketing structure looks like in terms of like, how do we do newsletters to get people to communicate with one another? How do we do onboarding? So I did that. But I was at LinkedIn for 7 years. So I had multiple jobs. I did chief of staff. And then part of my role there was like codifying what we stood for as a brand, because they knew I came from CPG, and they're like, we're actually hiring now for a brand team. Like, do you want to come move over there? So then I moved over to the brand strategy team. I was there for several years, and I had expressed I was interested in getting closer to culture. So I got to help build out the talent creator marketing team, which then met you, and then eventually built out the brand partnerships team.
Wow. Okay, there's a lot I want to dive into from there. I'm like, wait, where do we start?
I know, I was giving
a
quick spiel.
CPG, General Mills, was that in the Midwest?
Yes, in Minnesota.
Okay. Oh, Minnesota. So you've moved around a lot though, right? You lived in like the Bay Area, San Diego, and all these spots. Yeah. And now Orange County. You lived in LA for a little bit.
Yeah, so we were in Chicago. My husband and I, in Chicago, then Minnesota for General Mills. We moved around a lot for work. So we were in Minnesota for General Mills. And then when I got my LinkedIn job offer, moved to San Francisco. And then during the pandemic, we could work from anywhere, and we were like in this small like 700 square foot apartment. It's when the wildfire seasons were happening and COVID. So we're like, let's move down. So we moved down to San Diego, got a house that was the same price rent.
Oh my gosh.
It was like $3,400 was my one bedroom.
I think about it a lot, moving out of like LA, but just to like Orange County or San Diego or something.
Come to Orange County.
I do like Orange County. It's nice.
Come to Orange County.
Nice.
Yeah, and then after San Diego, when I was helping build out talent marketing stuff, it made sense to be in LA. So then we moved to LA, and then we wanted to buy a house. So then we moved to Orange County.
Okay.
2 years ago.
So a lot of moving.
A lot of moving.
Yeah. So when you went from General Mills to LinkedIn, were you really like vying for a tech job, like trying to get one? Or were you like, oh, just applying to a bunch of jobs, like let's see? Because I feel like a lot of people want to break into the tech industry, and it can be difficult because they're good jobs, they're well-paying jobs usually. There can be perks. So yeah, what was your like thoughts going into that?
I think I did. Like in 2017, I think that's when it was, or 2016-ish, I was just looking at like top companies, top places to work, and a lot of them were tech companies. And I feel like that was the time when I remember this movie came out, and it was with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson when they were interns at Google.
Oh, I've seen that.
Do you remember that?
Those two are hilarious together too, like Wedding Crashers.
So good. Yeah. And when like Silicon Valley HBO showed, like that was at its peak, and they were kind of just showcasing like all the perks of a tech company, and I was like, I'm really curious what it's like to work here.
Yeah, like were there nap pods? Were there like ping pong tables? I feel like LinkedIn wouldn't have like that much.
It was kind of insane. Like coming from General Mills to LinkedIn, where it was like Michelin star chef, all free food, multiple cafeterias, multiple baristas. Like the tech perks were really, really great. And I feel like especially with CPG becoming the margins are just so much tighter in a CPG company. They just don't have the money to do that the way that a tech company does.
Right.
But I was there and I feel like it helped to build really good workplace culture, and I was excited to come to work every day. But I specifically did want a tech job. But it was very different because CPG, it's very like, as a brand person, CPG was established like the value of brand and that you need brand to sell CPG. Whereas tech, it was very much like we build a product and people come, and then brand was an afterthought. So that was kind of a shift, but it was also cool to come in at a time where we're for the first time thinking about how do we build the LinkedIn brand.
Yeah. So when you were interviewing for that job, like was that the first one that you like interviewed for in the tech world? Like, was it hard to get, or was it a little easier because you already had the CPG background?
Okay, it's funny because I look back at all the jobs I applied to now, and I'm like, I wasn't qualified for any of those because I didn't know what any of those jobs meant.
You're applying like a man.
Yeah, I was. I really feel like I do. I'm like, I 50% of these, I'm good.
No, like more girls should probably do that.
I
More
agree.
guys probably should.
I do think that like I was fortunate in that. So I came from a brand background. And then I applied to, it was like a program manager, chief of staff role at LinkedIn. And it was like a marketing generalist role. But I feel like, to be honest, as long as you can get, in marketing at least, if you can get your foot in the door, as long as you have a really strong narrative, like you're able to communicate like the skills you learned and how you can transfer to this job, like everything is transferable if you're able to communicate it.
You seem like a great communicator. Like, have you always been like that? The talkative kid in school.
Okay, I feel like I did like to yap.
Yeah.
But I think that
Always loved to yap.
Always loved to yap. But I feel like I studied and prepared a lot. Like when I was in General Mills, I was like, oh my God, how do all these like professionals speak? So I would join every single meeting and just watch other people. And I would like write down what they said. I would be like, wow, how did they ask that question? How did they say no? How did they answer that question? So it was like very intentional.
Kind of language in a way.
Yeah.
But that's important because I feel like if you don't have that down and you're going into it, it's like then you can just tell that you're like new at it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never had a corporate job, so I'd be like,
which is wild
real
because
quickly trying to absorb things.
I think you are corporate adjacent. Don't you think so?
I wanted to like a long time ago, even when I was doing YouTube, when I was like 21, 22, whatever. I felt weird doing it because I didn't like that there was no structure and I had to make all the structure myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't know what I was doing with my life in general. And I wanted the like security and the like validation of a corporate job. And everyone would be like, no, don't do that. And it would have truly been a pay cut to do that, which is why I didn't do it. At least at first, probably. Yeah. And actually, no, like probably the whole time. But definitely at first, which is why I was like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to.
Yeah.
If I had made less, then I totally would have. I don't know. Like, I liked school, so I feel like I would have been like okay at it. But who knows? Who knows?
I think you would have crushed.
One thing that I think is interesting, and I mean, we'll get to like the TikTok side of things too, is that, and maybe I should ask this later, but I'll just ask it now because I'm thinking
tell me.
But I feel like at this point, you probably don't technically need to do a corporate job anymore. You could probably go full-time creator. But do you like it?
I do.
Yeah, I have a feeling you do. Like, I feel like you've talked about that.
It's true. I have thought about that. So I started TikTok 2 or 3 years ago now. And I feel like last year was the first year where I was like, wow, I could live very comfortably with the TikTok income. But I do like working. I think it's stimulating. I also don't think I'm like great at creating my own schedule in the way that I feel like you just said that you're doing for yourself. Like, I do feel like I get motivated by that. And I also think my creativity ebbs and flows. So that's it's kind of nice to sometimes have like a consistent paycheck or like a work schedule that like forces you to kind of like produce work.
Yeah. No, I saw one time last year you made a TikTok being like, I've made enough from brand deals. Like, I'm just going to not anymore. And I was like for the rest of the year. Yeah, I saw you did that. And I was like, whoa, that's such a good idea. I should do that. And then I remembered, I was like, wait, she has a whole other job. I was like, well, oh, I guess I don't have that. But I still think it's a good idea, you know, to not do too many and like be just, I don't know, like always, it burns you out, I think.
I remember, because I think I made that video in like a September, October time frame where I was like, okay, the rest of the year, I'm going to like finish the brand deals well. And then I'm going to try to like focus on organic content and grow my platform, because I do think when I take on too many brand deals, my audience probably gets kind of sick of it, or it kind of like monopolizes the algorithm because there's so much paid behind it.
Right.
That I need to balance it.
Let's talk more about TikTok.
Okay.
How did you get into it? Was this a COVID thing?
It was, well, I always wanted to be like a YouTuber influencer kind of thing.
Nice.
But I think I always felt like hesitant on how to go about it. I think because I grew up in the Midwest, it wasn't common to like see other people who aspire to do that kind of stuff. And so I think I felt like I don't even know how I would start doing it. And so I always had like a YouTube channel or like a blog, like for fun. And then in the pandemic, I really wanted to be, I was 29 years old and I really wanted to be on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Have I told you the story?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm kind of
But
embarrassed now.
at 29, that's like, it's crunch time.
A crunch time. I was like, this is the one year. And so I had a boss who actually nominated me for it.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then I got a letter from Forbes being like, fill out this questionnaire. This is what your bio would look like about you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm getting this list. And this list is going to change my life, is what I thought. And then I didn't make the list. And I was like devastated. December 1st is when the list came out. I was not a part of it. And my friend was like, why are you so, she said it kindly. She was like, why are you so bummed? Like, what did you think this list was going to do for you? And I was like, I think I have like a vision for myself to do more. And I thought this list would validate that I'm allowed to do more. And she's like, well, if you want to do more, why don't you just start? Yeah. And I don't know why that was like a light bulb. So I was like, oh my God, okay, I want to start like building a community. I want to share what I'm learning. I want to do more than my corporate job. And so I was like, I'm going to start making a TikTok. So it was December 1st when I found out I didn't make it. I started making TikToks that December, like mid-December during winter break of when I took off work. And then I think I had like 12,000 followers by like February 1st.
Oh,
it was
solid.
like pretty fast momentum that I was like, oh, this is what I really enjoyed doing. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Were you worried about your corporate job finding it? Quick break to thank Quince for sponsoring this episode. So you guys, I recently booked a trip to London for this summer because I'm going to go to Wimbledon, and I ordered a few things from Quince for the trip. I got this really cute gingham linen top. It's a very good price, I thought, for linen. I was like, okay, whoa, this is amazing. Quince, just across the board, they have really good quality stuff. They have got clothing, they have luggage, home decor, like you can get sheets, and the prices are like 50 to 80% less than similar brands because they actually work directly with top factories to cut out the middleman. So that's how they keep the prices low without sacrificing the quality, because you'll notice the clothing, it's like cashmere, washable silk, really good quality stuff. So I have so much stuff from Quince. If you're watching the video version of this, you'll see I'm gonna insert just videos of me wearing all the stuff I have from Quince. I'm kind of obsessed. I love it because the prices are so good. So if you are planning a trip this summer and you want to upgrade your luggage or get some cute clothing pieces, they just got a ton of new stuff for spring. If you also want to get some stuff from Quince this summer, you can go to quince.com/Shelby. They're offering 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/Shelby. QUINCE.com/Shelby. Thank you to Quince for sponsoring, and back to the episode. Were you worried about your corporate job finding it?
I wasn't worried. I felt more like I was shy about it. Like, I think I intentionally did TikTok because I didn't know if I really wanted friends or coworkers to see it.
It's such a safe space. It's like people are anonymous. I still use TikTok like that. If I'm like, I don't know if I want to post something on Instagram, I'm like, well, TikTok.
Yeah.
You know? You can post on there like wearing no makeup. You can just like be so yourself. I feel like Instagram is just awkward. It's like people lurking that you've known for so long and they don't ever like your shit. And it's like, why are you here? I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, now the math doesn't, I still think like that. And the math doesn't track because my following on TikTok is so much bigger than Instagram. But I still assume people aren't going to see it on TikTok.
Oh, well, it's because of For You page.
Yeah,
it's like
fair.
Followers is less, I guess, impactful than maybe YouTube, because people just don't. I never click on my following feed, but it helps, you know. It's like if someone's following, they're more likely for it to be on their For You page.
Yeah,
but maybe that's why.
That's true.
But I don't know. But I guess you probably have a lot of people now that you know that follow your TikTok.
I know people do bring it up now, and I'm always like, oh, that's interesting that it's actually visible. But I remember when I decided to make TikToks, the same friend sent me this quote, and it was from Marianne Williamson, and it was something about like when you let your light shine, you inspire other people to let their light shine. It sounds so much more profound if I actually knew the quote. But it was like a light bulb for me also of like, oh, it's not cringe if I want to start doing this. I find so much joy in doing it. And I do feel like I think the thing is that if I wanted to create something online, I wanted it to be like net positive. And so it like forced me to really think about like, well, why do I want to create online? What do I want to create about? So when I first started making TikToks, it was about things that I was learning. So it was like, I was really excited to learn about personal finance because I felt like not a lot of girls were talking about money on the internet. Like you were one of them, which was really inspiring.
But still not that many. And I don't know about you, but like most of my viewers on personal finance content end up being men. So I like when other girls talk about it because it's like, I feel like that inspires them to not be afraid or intimidated by
100%.
Because I mean, I used to be too. So,
It was like money, and then I was also sharing about what I was learning at work and like how to be successful in corporate America, encouraging girls to like ask for their promotions, ask for raises, that stuff. And then it kind of kept growing. And now it's kind of evolved to be like anything around life tips. I feel like the sweet spot also I found is like for people who are ambitious and have like goals but aren't like very regimented people. Like I'm not like a wake up at 5 a.m., do a morning routine kind of person. I'm just like a inconsistent, but I feel like I still figure it out, and I feel like there's a lot of other people like that too.
Yeah.
So that's
Are you
fun.
like type A or type B?
I don't know, because I think I present very type A, but I think people who know me know I'm very type B.
Oh yeah, so you're probably type B, but like maybe when it matters, can be
get
organized and stuff like for work and everything. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. TikTok, it kind of like blew up quickly for you. You started getting brand deal offers pretty quick, would you say?
I got my first brand deal in February, so 3 months after I started. And it was really small. It was maybe like 2 videos for $600. And I remember freaking out. I was like, oh my God. Like, it was so cool.
There's something fun about making money in a new way where it almost feels like fun money. Like I would get excited from making money from the podcast versus YouTube, for example.
Yeah,
it's just more exciting, even if it's less money, because I'm like, oh, it's like just different.
Wait, that's so true, because a brand deal for me will be bigger, but I don't really do like links. I don't really post products, but when I post like this one mug I really like and I make like $1.20 off of it, I'm like so pumped.
Yeah, no, that's fun, that kind of thing. Or like, no, I actually got so excited when I started making money on TikTok, like the ad revenue.
Yes.
Like the whatever it is. Like I had one video get a couple 100,000 views and I made $80 and I was like, this is awesome.
That is awesome.
But then I'm like, if I made that on a YouTube video, I'd be like, what the heck? Like this is nothing.
Okay, back to the type A, type B thing. I think a type A thing I do is I have a Google spreadsheet where I do track every single month, every single brand deal, earnings from ads, and I like love that kind of stuff. But then like my content planning is like the most chaotic notes page where it's just like random unorganized thoughts. So I guess it's like both, depending what I care about money, so I'm type A about money.
It's important to be type A about that because otherwise things will slip through the cracks. Like you'll probably like forget, a brand will like not pay you and you won't notice. That's probably like happened before to me and probably to a lot of people. I think there's one brand that still hasn't paid me, and like I made the content and they said that there was a problem with the app, so I couldn't post it yet. And I'm like, it's been 2 years, and they had me do these edits. They had me like buy stuff.
Was it through an agency or the brand direct?
Through an agency. And I did hit them up about what's going on, and still like I followed up a couple times and like still. Well, they never had me post it.
Oh.
So yeah.
But you still did the work.
Yeah, and it was annoying. Like they had me do edits and everything. It was actually the most annoying edits too. I was like, oh my God.
I hate doing brand edits. Like there's this one brand I worked with in December, and I almost wanted to walk away from it because I thought their edits were honestly kind of rude. Like they were commenting on my script and they were like they would like highlight a phrase and then write comments on it. And one of them was like, this isn't very interesting, or lose the, like it was the most nitpicky stuff. I almost walked out of it.
I've had that before where I'm like, so this is actually a creative thing. And they're like they're just trying to take over, and it doesn't even have anything to do with like how the brand is presented. Or like I'll have them be like, for example, I'll do a J or an L cut, so it'll be like, you know how sometimes it's like you'll watch someone and they'll be talking like this interview clip, and then that audio will continue even though B-roll of the next clip starts playing.
Wait, what is that called? A J roll?
A J cut or an L cut, because it kind of looks like a J or an L depending on how you do it, like if the audio is before or after. So I did one of those, and the brand was like, the audio doesn't match, and I'm like, this is a very common editing technique that like professional editors do all the time, but they just didn't know. And I was like, I guess I'll just fix it, because like I don't want to deal, and it's such a small thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's so silly.
Wait,
like it's actually so like a cool editing technique.
That is
Thank
cool
you very
technique.
much.
I'm gonna start using that J roll.
Yeah. Or J cut.
Oh, J cut
or L cut.
Idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you started getting brand deals, how did you go about negotiating them?
My first 2 years, I negotiated myself, and then last year was the first year I signed with the talent manager. But in the very, very beginning, I agonized over every $10. Like the first deal that was, I think, probably 2 for $600, and then when they said yes, the next time I would increase like 2 for $900. Like I kept increasing until a brand pushed back. But when I was drafting those emails, I remember I would be like, 2 for $600, no, 2 for $550, no, 2 for $570, no, and I just went back and forth. And I would be in the car with my husband Eugene, and luckily, like as those conversations went, he would be like, wait, babe, you have a full-time job, like please make sure you don't sign up for too much and you feel burnt out. He's like, I want you to make sure you always enjoy this kind of thing. And that was really helpful to be like, wait, you're right. Like I am really excited about earning and I feel grateful for it, but I don't want to sign up for too much where I start like resenting it. So it did make me feel more bold to be like, okay, throw the extra $30 in. And so, and then little by little, I think I kept raising it until one point a brand offered me like out negotiated myself, like Rent the Runway, I remember was one of my earlier partnerships, and they offered me more than I had proposed.
Oh,
and I was
so
like,
you're like, okay.
I think it's time for me to raise my rates.
Yeah, so because everyone seems to do that in the beginning where they just have it way too low.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know, and it's
don't know.
crazy to think people can get paid like, you know, some people $20,000 or more from literally a TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think, but there are people doing it. And like these companies, if they weren't advertising on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, they'd be paying millions of dollars for a commercial to be made, then millions more to play the commercial, and like the
100%.
ad agency and all these things. And so a lot of times it's still a better deal for them to go
And
with
especially for you, your production quality is so good, Shelby.
Thanks. I don't think brands care though. I don't think they care about that. I think it's honestly just like relatability and influence. That's like what matters. Like at the end of the day, they just want people to like convert sales.
Yeah.
But some brands don't care about that. Like there are definitely some that just want to get their name out there more, and they're not actually tracking the sales. Like I've had some where I didn't even have to link a product really.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, it's just like name recognition, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, other ones it's like they want to see like a certain return on investment.
Do you remember how much your first deal was ever?
$1,200 for Sherry's Berries.
What's that?
It's like a chocolate covered strawberry company.
Wait, so funny.
Yeah, in Seattle. I don't know if they're like around anymore, but yeah, I had this manager when I lived in Seattle. It was like 2013, so this was like hardly even a thing to...
You were OG.
Yeah. I was like, what even is a manager? Like, what is this? Like, what's going on? But yeah, this girl, I don't think she is a talent manager anymore, but she was for a really long time. She worked with all these OG YouTubers. Like, Aspen was with her, Claudia Salewski, if you remember her.
Oh,
Megan
Aspen.
Hughes.
Oh, she's all over my TikTok.
Yeah. It's like all of us had this same manager. She was like probably barely older than us at the time, probably 23 or 24. Honestly, I credit her because like, I wouldn't have known what to charge. I probably would have charged like $100.
Wait,
I was
good
18.
for
I didn't
her
know
for
anything.
knowing to be a talent manager at that age.
I know.
And was she getting 20% commission?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
she was like a pioneer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's from like a tech world family kind of, so she probably was a little more like understood what was going on and that kind of thing. But still, I don't know. I think a lot of people weren't thinking about that back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, those first brand deals were pretty small but exciting when I was 18. I was like, wait, $1,200? That's when I realized, okay, this could be a real career, because YouTube ad revenue is just not enough really. And now it's gone down.
Yeah.
It actually has gone down, which I'm like, what the
Weird.
heck? Yeah, it used to be more.
Okay.
It used to be like I would get 1 million views a month and that would make me $10,000. Now it makes me like $5. It's like cut in half. And I don't really know why. Like, my content hasn't changed. Still put the same amount of ads. I think there's just maybe less advertisers, or maybe they're sharing it with shorts, because shorts don't really have ads, so they might be sharing it. I don't really know why.
And do you do, in addition to your ads, one brand sponsor per video?
No, because I don't get that many offers to like fill that space.
Okay.
And especially offers that I want to do.
That's fair, that you represent. Yeah.
Because, I mean, there are some where I'm just like, no, not for me, you know? I wouldn't do every video because it would just, like, delay things. And, like, there are some where it just doesn't make sense. But, I mean, there was a year where I did that, basically. Like, almost every video was sponsored. But it would be an integration. Because a dedicated video, that would just be, like, what? Like, the whole video is about that? That's crazy, you know?
That makes sense.
Like, that works, I think, better for short form content because you only have so much time to talk
like
about
45 seconds.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you do an integration? Talk about this Coke for 10 seconds and something else like that. I mean, I guess you could, but it's like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the corporate world, a world that I don't have any experience in, but I'm curious to learn because sometimes I do think, like, what if I got a corporate job one day? Like, what if I had to, or I don't know. I don't know what I would be doing. Do you have tips? Like, what are things that people don't know, like graduates from college? Like, what is advice that they need to know, things people don't tell you?
It's a good question. I feel like if you're earlier in your career, it's so important that you're just learning as much as possible, even more than how much you're making. I think your first few years, because your first few years, your salary is probably less flexible because you're one of several like thousands of graduates. So if you can use those first years to just be in rooms to learn as much as possible from other people, I feel like my first few years, like my salary was like $53,000. I didn't try to negotiate it, but I just honestly feel like I learned so much from just every single person around me, and not even just like the hard skill of marketing, but even like the soft skill of how do you get stuff done, how do you present to people, how do you get buy-in, that type of thing. And I think that's what positioned me then to make such a big career pivot from General Mills to LinkedIn, and also significantly increase my income. So I feel like the beginning of your career, if you could just learn, you're also like gaining so much earning potential. And then as you continue to become more senior, you'll become faster at learning too. And I think just trying to get on really big projects. I think the other thing that people probably don't tell you about corporate is that you have to, people say like drive your career, you're responsible for driving your career, but no one really ever says like what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
And I feel like you are going to be the only person that advocates for yourself. Like, as much as your manager and your mentors are invested in you succeeding, you have to be the one that's driving those conversations. And so regularly having conversations with your leaders about like, what can you do to become a higher performer? What can you do to be on bigger projects? How do you get more visibility so that you're like setting yourself up in a position? So you kind of have to just be like mindful of everything that's happening around you besides just like completing your tasks.
At first, did you ever feel awkward asking for a raise, or like having those conversations of like, how can I do more?
I feel like I luckily I always had a lot of mentors who I think were very helpful and would coach me on how to have that conversation. And they would remind me, they'd be like, Jenny, every other person is having this conversation, so don't be afraid to have it. But there is a way you can do it with tact. Like, I think timing matters. You don't want to ask for a raise in the meeting you're supposed to be getting a raise. Like, you should try to time it out months before or know when budget conversations are happening. And you should try to anchor it in like the impact you're delivering in the work that you're having versus like, inflation rates are really high, can I get a pay raise? Like, you want to like tie it to those things, because your boss also wants you to be happy. If you're good at your job, they want to retain you as talent. And so if you can tie those two things together, I think it's important. So in the beginning, I of course felt shy, but I think my mentors would coach me on how I can approach that conversation, which made me feel a lot more confident, and I would just practice it.
And then at General Mills, did you end up asking for a raise there, or did you switch to LinkedIn? Like, did you kind of stay at the same level while you were there?
I did get raises, like small percentages as well as bigger raises with promotions. And so I was at General Mills for 4 years, and I think I got promoted 2 or 3 times while I was there. And so in those conversations, I did get raises.
But those were kind of like automatic, would you say? Like, they kind of happen each year, or did you have to like push for that?
The annual raises, they were automatic. The promotions, I did have to push for those ones and kind of like advocate for myself about why. General Mills was like a little bit helpful in that they had a very established structure where they would give you like, here's what's expected at your level. And then they would like train you on how to measure your work against those expectations. And then that was so helpful because when I came to LinkedIn, I was like, I thought everybody thinks like this. And then I came to LinkedIn and nobody did. Oh. So I think I was able to take what I learned from General Mills and really put myself in a position where I was advancing regularly at LinkedIn. And I think I was pretty young compared to my peer set. But it's because General Mills, I think, just trained me so well on like how to have those conversations. Whereas other people, I think they thought it would happen automatically.
Yeah. And then by the end of your time at General Mills, were you making significantly more or was it just like a little more?
I think I was making like, I don't remember, like 10 to 15,000 more. And then when I went
after 4 years.
After 4 years. Yeah. And then when I went to LinkedIn, I think I might have tripled.
Wow.
It was a significant difference.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Were you like, whoa, when you went into the conversation of salary there, were you like, okay, sounds good? Or did you kind of push for it?
I pushed really hard.
I mean, that's good.
I pushed really hard. Part of it was because I was living in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Eugene and I loved where we lived, and I had this job offer.
And you had to move.
And so we kind of were like, I only want to move if it's going to look like this. And so I think that gave me a lot of courage. I watched so much. Who's that guy? I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Oh, yeah. Ramit
Sethi. I watched so many of his YouTube videos at the time. And I was like practicing on like how much I wanted because I knew my first two things. Number one, I knew this number that I came into would be the number that I would anchor everything in. Like every future raise was going to be based off this number. And second, I was comfortable in Minnesota. Like, yes, I wanted a tech job, but I also was very happy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm only going to move if it's significantly going to put me in a position that's better. And that's also when Eugene and I were in our, like, let's get out of debt, like, era. And so I was like, San Francisco cost of living is really high. It's only going to be worthwhile if I can make so much money that it's worth paying off debt. The way that I approached it, and I think the advice that I got from all the books was like, you have to crush all your interviews so that by the time the offer comes, it's not even about like, do we want you or not? It's how badly do we want you, and do we think you're going to be such a high performer that we would offer you the top of the range. And so I did push pretty hard, and I never did it in like, I also feel like as a woman you kind of have to like push but not be too aggressive because you still want to seem like great to work with and easy to work with. Yes.
Yeah,
I know.
oh
I'm so mindful of that, which is like the reality of it. So I think I also just practiced on how I wanted to frame it and like in the value I would provide and how confident I was, but how also excited and grateful I was for the opportunity. And and then they were able to like get it approved.
Yeah.
And then I was like, see ya.
It was a no-brainer at that point. I mean, this is a good lesson to learn, is like position yourself to be like, I don't know, not desperate for something when you're negotiating for anything, you know? Like, that's how I felt when I recently offered on a condo. At first, I kind of fell in love with it and I was like being dumb about it a little bit, but not really. And then I like reined it in and I was like, wait, let's run the numbers. I don't need this. Like, I'm not desperate for it if it's not a good price. Like, I think that's good for anything. Like, if you're like really desperate for it, that you'll overpay or take like a bad job offer.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes people just are in that situation. But if you can get yourself out of it, like you were happy where you lived. Like you didn't need to move. You weren't like, I need to move to California and have a tech job. Like you had a good like outlook on it, I think.
Totally.
Okay, so quick location change and outfit change. We just felt like switching it up for you guys. No, I'm kidding. We had a little malfunction with the SD card and it didn't record the audio for the last 30 minutes of the last podcast. So we're refilming it for you guys. I could have uploaded just like shitty audio for the last 30 minutes, but I was like, no, we're gonna
get another reason to hang out.
Yeah. I was like, if you're down, I'm down. But I felt bad being like, can we re-record? I waited like a week to ask.
Oh, you knew for a week?
I did.
I'm always down.
Because I was like, it's not as bad when it's been a while since something has happened. So we're back. We talked a lot about tech career life, but now I'm like, I want to talk about TikTok.
Let's do it.
And making money with that, really, because I've been seeing all these people, it's been on my For You page, people making good, like a full-time living amount, like over $100,000, like 200,000 or more. That's kind of the threshold I'm seeing, with about 150,000 to 200,000 followers. I'm seeing some people do that. And I think that's really impressive. As a YouTuber, I'm like, wait, how? That's crazy. With YouTube, I have over 1 million followers, and I'm like, wait, but I only made, I think, like 250 from brand deals last year, and I have like, I don't know, 2 million almost followers. But I guess brands just aren't spending on YouTube as much.
I know. I am surprised to hear that because I feel like it's so much more work to integrate a brand into a YouTube video than it is for a TikTok video that also is inconsistent in the algorithm. So that surprises me.
That's the thing. I feel like for brands, it's such a crapshoot if the video will even do well. Whereas with YouTube, I feel like there's a little more reliability, but you still never know.
I do feel like people would be surprised by how much people make on TikTok, especially the niche that you're in, because I feel like people would be surprised by how much people make on TikTok, especially the niche. Because I have 170,000 followers on TikTok, and which is not a lot, to be honest.
170,000? No, it's still a lot, I feel like.
It's good. It's a lot.
It's hard to get to that today. But I guess, yeah, TikTok is so crazy because there will be a new person every day where you're like, how do they have like 5 million followers?
Yeah, like I don't have a million, I don't have 2 million, but I do get surprised when I meet people who do have so many more followers than me, but maybe are in a harder niche. And I do get surprised that they're making significantly less than I am.
Yeah. What do you mean by harder niche?
Like someone does makeup tutorials. And so because it's so specific, I think maybe some brands have a harder time seeing them telling their brand story. Or if they do like comedy skits, unless it feels really brand safe, they don't see themselves fitting. And I didn't even pick my niche because I thought it would be brand friendly. Just me talking on the camera, it naturally, I think, integrated for a brand to feel like they could show up there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the personal finance niche, it's good and bad. I feel like it's good because brands will spend more because those companies have more money, but bad in a way where I feel like you do have to be more careful about what brands you work with.
Yes. Because
say you worked with a company and it was like a candle company, and say it turned out the candle wasn't like that good or something, then people would be like, it's not as big of a deal as like if it was a bank and then the bank went under.
Totally.
Yeah, like that's a huge deal. So I'm like, oh,
fortunately, most of my finance deals were ones with like SoFi that I trust and love so much, or Venmo that I use, and it's more like personal finance tips.
Those are really good ones.
Yeah, but there definitely have been ones that I was like, this is good money, but I gotta walk away because I don't know it.
Yeah, like that whole FTX scandal. I'm like afraid to even say that word because so many people got sued. Bad. But I'm like, there's no endorsement there. That was crazy. If people aren't familiar, FTX was this like crypto exchange, and it was that Sam Bankman-Fried guy. It ended up being like fraudulent activity, basically. A lot of people lost money, but a lot of influencers and celebrities were like sponsored by it, and so people were really mad at them.
I do remember so when I started on TikTok, my first year I think I had 12,000 followers, maybe a little bit less or maybe a little bit more, but that year I think I made like $25,000.
Oh, that's so
and I was
good
like,
with 12,000
that's crazy, that's amazing.
That's
and then
so
I think
good.
my next year, I think I had 60,000 followers, and my goal was to make $100,000, and I did it. And I didn't think it'd be possible to make 100,000 with less than 100,000 followers. And that's when I was like, okay, I think I want to start talking to a talent manager. And what could that look like if I like put my pedal to the metal, grow my following, work with a talent manager, and know that there's marketplace interest? Like, could I, like, it would be worthwhile to work with a talent manager if I triple what I make.
Definitely.
And whatnot. And so it felt like worthwhile to me.
Yeah. And so far with the talent manager, have you made more money? Like, do you think they get you more deals?
Yes and no. Like, I think majority of my deals last year were still all inbound, meaning that the brands reached out to me. They saw my email and my profile. There were a few that they were able to pitch for me, but I think part of it is like they negotiated to make some of my deals longer term, or they negotiated like paid usage, which I rarely did. Like I'd be like $1,000 a month, sure, like do it. But they would be like, no, Jenny, we can charge more for paid usage because you're also blocking out from other categories. I was like, oh.
The exclusivity, that is a big thing. Yeah.
Which I didn't like think about. And, but I think they just saved me so much time that it's still worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a tip for people, for anyone who is like managing themselves with social media. When it comes to like the paid usage and the exclusivity, because sometimes people ask me and I'm like, I have an agent, so I don't even really know exactly. And so someone asked me one time, and I asked like one friend a ballpark, but I was like, honestly, ask ChatGPT. Like it has some pretty good info of like, just it kind of gathers what most people are doing, like everyone who's shared their information online. So yeah, that's helpful with that.
Guys, I didn't start using ChatGPT until 2 weeks ago when Shelby taught me.
That
my life has changed.
So what are you loving for? Okay, wait, let's talk about that later. I don't want to get too off topic. I'm obsessed with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 60,000 followers though, making 100,000, that's amazing. Were you like really pitching yourself, really like putting a lot of work in, or was it like really, I mean, it was a side thing, but did it feel like a lot of work?
I did pitch myself to brands, but I don't think any of them were successful. Like all of my brand deals were still a brand reaching out to me. And I think I negotiated myself in those first 2 years, and would just every single time felt more confident to like hold the line or be like, okay, that's my rate for 2 videos, but if you do 3, I'll make it this price, whatever. And then I do think because I worked a corporate job on the brand side, it's just that like a few $100s or a few $1,000s isn't that much for a brand, but it is a lot for one person. So even when I felt anxious to be like, I want a little bit more, like they will negotiate. They won't walk away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's this corporation, and the people who are on the other side of that negotiation, they're not like that emotional about it. It's not their money.
Yes.
You know, I forget that too. I'm like, who would I to ask for this amount or whatever? But luckily I'm not the one negotiating things usually. But I recently got a hotel stay for free, and they threw in some extra stuff, and I was like,
want a hotel.
Wait, really? You're going to give us like a dining credit? Like what? I don't know.
Sometimes the non-monetary stuff actually feels more rewarding.
Yeah. So you made $100,000, but you already had a corporate job.
Yeah.
So this is money you weren't really like expecting to make.
Yeah.
What did you do with it?
So that year, what I didn't know was that like you book a deal and then you contract it and you execute it, but then it takes like months to like receive the check. And so
Like, yeah.
And so fortunately, like I kind of acted like it didn't exist sometimes.
Yeah.
And I saved it, and I was scared I didn't know how I was going to get taxed. But I remember like I was planning for my 30th birthday, and I really wanted to pick a really cute Airbnb and host friends. Okay. But I booked an extra nice Airbnb and like covered the cost of it because I was like, this TikTok will cover the cost of this. So that was fun to be able to like treat little things with that stuff and use my corporate job as like my daily expenses and savings.
Totally. So then you did that like for a one-off thing, but then did you like save and invest most of it?
I saved it. Yeah.
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 Because I'm like, okay, you didn't spend $100,000 on an Airbnb.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure I got taxed like 30% of it, so $30,000.
Yeah.
And then I saved
state taxes too.
Yeah, plus state taxes.
So it's probably more like 40. So
yeah.
But you may have had some write-offs if you had to buy stuff for it. I don't know.
I have such low costs. So I did work with the tax advisor, and they were really helpful to help me think about where I could have some write-offs. But it was still like, I would think that first year it was max $18,000 in write-offs. So then I think I was still taxed at around $80,000 for just the creator income.
Oh, yeah.
But it was that added plus my W-2 and my husband's W-2. We just filed it all together.
Yeah, I could see TikTok being less write-offs than YouTube or a podcast. I'm like, okay, I rented the studio, the cameras. I mean, it's good to not have expenses. Yeah. Really. So it's not like a bad thing. People are always, I feel like some people think write-offs are like different than they are like free money or something. It's like, no, you're still paying for the thing.
Well, last year I had a lot. This past year I had so many more write-offs, which was really great because it was like, I started having like monthly subscriptions, but also the place that I record, because now that I don't work from home, the area that I record in is truly for recording. So like that square footage, I was able to like just track, like things like that. Different travel that I had for trips, like, and where I was able to record content, was that, but it still wasn't like a ton of money. I don't have a ton of like camera equipment.
But I guess it's good to know if you came up with a cool series idea and you needed to travel, or if you got more into YouTube or anything else that you might have to upgrade your equipment, like you could write that off.
How do you do you keep track of all of your expenses?
I have just a separate business card. And so anything business related, I'll buy on that card. And then I have my accounting people kind of go through that and categorize it. And then sometimes though I'll have to Venmo people and I have to go through that manually and be like, okay, what was that for? Like, was that business or personal? And then I'll like send them that. But Venmo is like not nearly as many transactions as like a credit card. It's mostly on a like airline credit card.
But what about like your iPhone storage stuff? Or like,
oh, like paying for iCloud?
Stuff like that, or CapCut or things.
Oh, CapCut, definitely business. I would not use that for personal.
But you put it on a business card?
Yeah.
Oh, see, all mine's on personal.
And I pay for like a ton of iCloud storage because I vlog on my phone so much. I have like so much that I would never record if it weren't for YouTube, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just take photos like a normal person, like just a few here and there.
I think this year I need to figure out a better way to organize.
Yeah, I'm not the most organized, but I've been trying to get better at that. It's like you got to block off time for it. It's hard. But okay, so you made a good amount with 60,000 followers, but now with, what is it, 160,000, right?
Yeah, 170,000 now, yeah.
But now with 170,000 followers, what kind of money can you make with that? Have you shared that?
I actually haven't, which is interesting because I believe in financial transparency so much. And I say that like what inspired me to start creating was because I met other people who shared their amount. But I did feel nerve-wracking to say it. But last year I did earn $300,000 with 170,000 followers.
That's amazing. It's like double the amount of followers you have. If you can keep that up, shoot. Yeah. That'd be great.
And then 20% go, like a certain amount goes to my agencies. And
so the 300,000 is before that cut.
300,000 is before the cut.
Okay.
So what is that? 20% of 300 is
60,000.
240.
So, yeah, 240. That's very, very good. And you can do it in your spare time after work. Like that is incredible. That's so inspiring. I feel like to anyone watching, like, damn, that's amazing.
I know. That's why I feel icky talking about it. But at the same time, I'm like, the only reason why I started creating, not the only reason, the reason why I felt motivated to push through fear of creating was because I heard like other people who are TikTokers told me how much they were making. And I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. Like, I'm going to try this. So it is true. It is inspiring that like anyone could do it.
Yeah. So you did feel that at first? Like, did you feel like, oh, people from like a long time ago, or maybe your old job will see it, or like, what was your thoughts?
Wait, Shelby, did you never feel this because you grew up being a creator?
Kind of, not really. So I started making videos when I was 14, and my twin sister started to too. And we just didn't tell anyone at school about it. And so by the time people found it, we already had like a solid amount of subscribers that people were like, oh, that's like kind of cool. But it was still so cringy. Like looking at those videos, I'm sure people like made fun of me behind my back or whatever.
Yeah.
But like no one was mean up front in person. So I feel like that's the hardest thing, is if you have to go somewhere in person, like you have like a peer group you have to see every day, and then those people might find out about your online content that you just started, because when you just start, it's kind of cringy. But like if you don't have to do that, like if you have a remote job, it's like, who fucking cares?
Yes, that's true. The pandemic did help. Yeah. Wait, so can you not, when people are like, oh, I'm too afraid to start because I don't want people to think, do you feel like, oh, I don't really get that thought?
I felt that with my podcast. I was like, I feel like so many people have podcasts, like who am I to start one too? But then I was like, well, I don't know. I feel like I know some cool people and can share a different side of things, like a more like financially transparent. Yeah, but I just felt a little bit like, and I did get some comments when I first announced it. People have been like, another podcast, okay, you know? Yeah. But I don't know. It's fun.
I remember the year before I started making TikToks, I was like watching so much YouTube, and I watched so much of your content, Shelby.
Oh, no way.
Because you were sharing so much like financial information, and it was like very empowering.
Oh, I'm glad, because I feel like everyone feels a little weird like sharing like the financial stuff at first.
Do you not feel shy
About sharing like
finances?
money?
Money.
Not as much. I think it helps that my sister Monica, she's so open about it too, and to us it's just so normal to share like literally everything about money.
Okay, you're
and
right.
like kind of my parents too a little bit. Like we're just like open about finances, and like the thing that really gets me to share it is remembering that like the only people it helps if you don't share this are the people at like the very top. Like the only people it helps if I don't share how much I make are probably brands.
Wow.
Whereas I'm like, if other creators know, then they know to charge more maybe.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, some people don't know at all you can make money on YouTube. So, you know, because there are people, they first start, they get totally taken advantage of. Like a brand will be like, we'll just send you this product for free and you can make a whole dedicated video. And like some people are like, cool, a brand reached out. Like I'm honored. Like, I think I was like that when I was like 14. I was definitely made a video about something just for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that motivates me more to just be like, no, like this is good content for people to know.
That's
or good
true.
information.
That's true. I think I agree. The only other fear I have is like it coming off show offy or making someone else feel crappy about their situation. But you're right. But if it could only inspire other people.
Yeah. I think it can potentially, it can come off that way, but if you do it in a way where you like give a lot of value in the information, then it won't. Like when I first shared how much I made with YouTube ad revenue, I gave a lot of tips for people to how to increase their ad revenue. Like I did a lot of research and I was like, oh, you add another ad here. People didn't know that then. Or like these certain niches make more money. Like people now, everyone knows that, but back then people didn't know that.
Interesting.
And so I shared that. And so people weren't like thinking I was flaunting it. It was more like helpful. Like this is how much I make and this is like how I did it and how you can kind of do it too.
Yeah, I love that.
But I think that's harder with short form. It's still possible, but it's like when you only have like this much time, like 60 seconds, it's harder.
Yeah.
It's like you pretty much have time to like say the amount and then maybe like a couple other things.
That's true. I have made some videos about like tips on growing as a creator in terms of like how to get brands to find you, like putting your email in your bio, like is such a no-brainer so brands even know who to reach out to, or making sure your content is like brand safe so they feel like they can trust being in your content.
Totally. But so do you feel like you have a financial goal? Because I know you already bought a house. Like, do you feel like you've got your job at Netflix, you're making this money on TikTok? Is there something you're saving for or investing?
Yeah, I am. I think it's exciting because buying a house was our major goal. And then before that, it was like paying off all of our student loans. That's what started us wanting to like, especially me wanting to learn how do I become more financially literate. But I think like I would love to figure out how to buy like a house for my parents or Eugene's parents and like figure out, because it's kind of common where a lot of Korean immigrant parents like don't have retirement plans. They kind of expect their children to be their retirement plan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and so I would love to figure out what that looks like. But also as like for us, it's like an investment property for us. Like if we bought a house under our name, but like a place where parents could live, like that would be really cool for me. So that, not cool for me, that would be really cool.
For everyone.
For everyone.
That would definitely, that'd be really cool. Would you want it to be near where you live?
So Eugene's parents live in Georgia.
Okay.
And so I think that would be like probably what makes sense. And then I don't know. I don't know about my parents. I feel like they just keep saying like, oh, they're comfortable in Chicago, but it would be cool if it was somewhere like closer on the west side where it's warmer so they don't have to deal with like snow and weather.
Yeah, you never know. My parents moved to Palm Springs. I never thought they would.
Oh, they did?
You never know. I feel like people get a certain age and they're like, maybe I do just want to live somewhere warm. You know?
Honestly, especially when you're older too, like shoveling the snow, shoveling off the driveway, shoveling the snow off your car. It's kind of like a lot.
That's a lot.
And my mom has slipped a few times.
That's scary.
Yeah,
I have
so
heard
scary.
some horror stories. Not even older people like our age, like getting serious health problems from like slipping on ice. Scary. So be careful out there, guys.
Do you want to do more short form content?
Yeah, I'm trying to post more short form. I feel like I've been good about it for like, it's always just like you're juggling, you know? I'm like, okay, I'm posting a lot on Instagram this week, but like I haven't uploaded on YouTube in 3 weeks. Like I had this revelation recently where I'm like, I am not uploading on my main channel unless it's a video I'm like obsessed with, because what is the point if not?
Because you have your main channel, your vlog channel, step by step, your Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I know. And I don't know how it ended up like that. Like, oh, like before COVID, it was like just my main channel and that's it. Just
all of these came since COVID? In the last 4 years?
I already had Instagram.
Okay, fair.
But Instagram was just like, I don't know. I feel like it was different then. It was fine to just post on it like once a week or just whenever.
Yeah.
And now the algorithms, it feels like you need to like always be posting or it will, like people forget about you. I don't know. But I just am kind of like, screw that sometimes. But yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you shared either what your highest brand deal was? And then second, since content is your main form, like I'm so used to my paychecks still come consistently and I can track that. How do you manage when it's like creator income fluctuates every single month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. With the creator income fluctuating, I can always count on my YouTube ad revenue. And for a while it hasn't been this way in a really long time, but there was a time in like, I think 2019 where I made like 20,000 a month on AdSense.
From just
ads? And it's crazy to think now because I don't make nearly that much on AdSense anymore.
Why?
I think I had 2 videos that popped off and were still getting like 1 million views a month. Each of them. And so even if I like didn't upload, those ones were still getting a lot, but I was uploading a lot. So those made a lot. That was crazy. And then that lasted probably like a year. And then for a very long time, it was like 10,000 a month because I'd be uploading a lot. Usually some videos are doing well. It might be older. It's always like, it's that 80-20 like Pareto principle is so true. Like I'll look and I'll be like, it's like 20% of the videos I've made make 80% of the money.
Interesting.
But you never know which ones it's going to hit, you know? So, I mean, sometimes you can kind of tell, but there are definitely some where I'm like, really that? Like I did a video about these like concrete houses in Florida and it has like 1 million views now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so I funny. Just did not expect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay. But yeah, no, it's like 10th. Now my AdSense is so much less. I don't really know why. I think that YouTube is sharing the money with shorts or something. For the last 28 days, it's $3,700. Like that's really bad for my channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's still great that you just get it.
Yeah.
But also I hear coming from 20,000.
I know, but I didn't get that for like a very long time. Let's see what it was in like February. 6,000 in February. And this is from still a good amount of views. Like, let's see. I mean, I still think YouTube is a great place to be, even because that's still more than I would make from ad revenue on like TikTok or something.
Yeah.
And I can make this just the style of content I want. Like I like the longer form kind of.
I have a few videos on YouTube and I still track how much I make every month from YouTube AdSense. And it's like $30 to $50 a month, but I still track it. Like I still feel so proud of it.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
fun to
TikTok, I think creator fund, it's like so little, but the few months I pop off, it'll be like $900 a month.
Yeah. So do you ever try and make a video a little longer to hit that minute length on TikTok?
Last year for sure. This year, if it's 59, because so in all my videos, I don't know if you notice this, I record everything on the camera, facing the camera. Then I go through and edit it. And then I'll do another pass where I take out any time I breathe. Just because people's attention spans are so, I want it to go. But if the video is at 58 seconds, I might add a few breaths in to get it to a minute.
Oh, that's funny.
But if it's beyond that, I'm like, there's no saving this. This is less than a minute.
I've definitely made it longer with like a voiceover.
Oh,
I've been like,
that's smart.
You know what? I'm going to put a hook at the beginning. I know I can like make this pretty interesting if I got a lot of content.
Yeah.
If I got enough content for it to be like interesting the whole time, then like, yeah, I'll make it a minute long and like save a minute and 1 second.
You know, there were 2 videos in my first, to get to 100,000 followers, 2 videos. I made a video about this that like, to get followers, you actually only need a few viral videos, but then around the viral videos, you need like supporting videos that are on the same topic to get them to follow.
Oh, yeah.
But my 2 viral videos I remember were, have you heard of controlled controversy?
No.
Okay. Some people intentionally do this. I've never intentionally done controlled controversy.
I can guess.
Yeah. So basically where you do something slightly controversial and it baits people to commenting.
Yeah.
So for example, one of my videos, I actually shared how much money I was making every single month as a creator at 50,000 followers. Up until I had 60,000 followers, I think I was a lot more transparent about how much money I was making, and then I got a little bit more shy. But all my captions were wrong. Like my captions were auto captioned. So if I said $3,000, it would say like, it would spell it out basically. And I accidentally said like FY24 or something, even though it was calendar year 2023. All of my comments were, I didn't know you were in the future, or I hate these captions, they're so annoying. And it got me like 1 million views.
Whoa. So
because
it
of
worked.
controlled controversy.
Wow.
What was the time you did it?
So this basically, I did a short form video about the Aritzia outlet, which is
in
like
Palm Springs.
Yeah, and I was editing it, and I was like, I'm targeting people in LA because I don't know. I think that's who would want to go there.
Yeah,
because most of the people that live in Palm Springs full time are older. And so I was like, it's just outside of LA. And I was editing and I was like, I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but like in my mind, it is just outside of, like to me, I'm like, oh, Palm Springs is just outside of LA.
Yeah, it's like a hop and a skip.
Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I was like, people might, so many comments, people have been like, it's 2 hours away. This is not just outside of LA. It's just outside of Palm Springs. So I was cracking up because I was like, well, more comments. Okay, cool. But I mean, it's true. It's
okay. Another video I had, I think it was like 4 types of bank accounts everyone needs. And one of them, I meant to say brokerage account, but I think I called it something else. Everyone was like, that's a brokerage account, whatever. And it also got me 1 million views. Oh, wow. All the comments being upset. And at first that one bothered me because I was like, I don't want to get this type of attention that's like undermining, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to look like a dummy or like lose credibility. And then I learned I just had to get over it because other videos I could correct, but some influencers I heard do it purposely. Like they'll purposely spell things wrong.
Oh, I heard that Emily Mariko girl, like I don't remember what she did, but she did something like really weird. Oh, I did. Like she made like some kind of food and she made it like so like odd, and everyone was like, this is definitely like rage bait or whatever.
Rage baiting is probably the right word. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to find it. I'll add this in if I can remember. I feel like it was a lemon pasta or something.
And it didn't look good?
Everyone was just like, girl, what?
Do you have financial goals for yourself or what you want to make, or no, are you just living?
I do, yeah. Okay. I definitely have I have like a more long-term, I don't know how long this will take goal, but I'm like, I would love to get to $5 million invested. Cool. And for a while I was like, I felt weird saying that, but I'm like, guys, if you don't have these goals, you're seriously never going to hit it. Like you have to like get comfortable like saying the number, you know? And I'm like, that is so solid because that's $500,000 passively about you could make in a like just like a index fund, you know, give or take.
Wait, you're saying if you have 5 million in an account, you will receive $500,000 each year from return. Really?
Well, if you're averaging a 10% return, which is not how it works. It's not like you get every year, right?
But
it's like,
are you assuming the 5 million stays and you only get 4% of it?
I'm assuming 5 million in the market with a 10% return. So it's not going to be that every year.
Okay.
It's kind of
still
like
comfortable.
Yeah. It's crazy when you look at the stock market. It's like, 2 years in a row up 15, 20% and then down like 30. Yeah. But over the course of the time, it averages out that 10%. So it's like, okay, I know it's not actually like you get 10% a year.
Sure.
But it averages out like that. Smart. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, kind of averages. I feel like I wouldn't actually want to like retire. Like I love what I'm doing right now with YouTube where I'm only making videos that I think are interesting and not like trying to upload every week. So I'd like to keep doing that and maybe use like copyrighted music or something. But like if I can hit that number, I'm like, that just sounds like you can live a great lifestyle and not have to, I don't know, stress about short-term making money. I feel like now I don't even necessarily need to stress about it, but I still do because I feel like it's wise to just,
I agree,
you know, make money while you can. Yeah.
Do you then, like, a lot of the money you make, are you aggressive about putting it in investments?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty aggressive. Like I'll get paid for a brand deal and then I'll go, oh, cool. I check the stock market every morning. And then if it's down, I'll put some more in. But I still have probably too much cash where I'm like, I should have put that in. But,
I think I do too.
But I don't know. I just feel comfortable having a good amount and then putting it in over time, like a little bit each month or like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't do it like the first of the month. I do it like when I get paid from a brand deal usually. That's cool. Because you never know when that's going to be. And like, I'll just kind of look at where things are and put more in. And lately it's just been put money in, lose it immediately.
I am grateful. You're right that you say numbers just boldly and right. I love that. So thank you.
Oh yeah, sure.
One thing I'll say though also about, because I know you mentioned we bought a house. I feel like also we got very lucky in buying a house because I before Netflix I worked at LinkedIn and LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, and so I got a lot of Microsoft stock as part of my compensation.
Oh, cool.
And I never touched it. Like I just pretended it didn't exist, and it was kind of like forced savings, and then Microsoft grew a ton.
It did really well.
Really well. So it was $80 when I first joined LinkedIn. Wow. And I think it ended up being $400 when I pulled it out.
That is amazing.
And so I say that as in like, we wouldn't have been able to buy a house if we didn't have Microsoft stock.
Oh, really? So that was the real difference. It wasn't even really the salary. It was like the stock.
Because I wasn't even I wasn't a creator when we were saving for a house. And like for sure our salary was helpful in saving like a few $1,000s a month. But to buy a home in California and to put like 15 to 20% down, like it would have taken us forever to save it. So I think the stock and the fact that it was like, I didn't even look at it, like and I say that because it's like, it's so hard to buy a house in California unless your parents help you or unless you work in tech or have a really high paying job. Yeah.
Or like do YouTube, or even doing YouTube. I ended up buying a house with my sister. Even doing YouTube, it's like, it's not like I can buy a house in LA. Nor would I want to, because I just don't really feel safe. I like being in a building. I just like that.
That makes sense.
But if I lived in Orange County, I'd probably live in a house. It's nice down there.
It is nice. Come hither.
Yeah. Wait, have you ever like talked about your home purchase? Like, have you ever shared like the cost?
No, but I'm down to.
Oh, really? That would be interesting.
So our house in Orange County, it was around 1.5 million.
Yeah, and that's like so hard to buy. Like,
I know if you live anywhere else in any other state, that sounds like an insane number. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath with a fenced backyard. Like, don't you feel like that's I actually feel like
that's really good for like a nicely renovated house. Yeah, that's really
cool. We were initially looking in LA, and around that price point, we were looking at 1.2, 1.5. Well, we were looking at 1.2, 1.3 and ended up 1.5. It was all townhomes, all 2-bedroom townhomes.
Yeah, if you get a single family house for 1.5 in LA, it needs extensive renovations.
Yes. And we are not handy people, so we wanted to be move-in ready. Yeah. And in California, if it's a loan over $1 million, it's a jumbo loan. So when we were buying, you needed to put, I think it was 15% down. And then what I didn't know is that you had to have, I forget whether it was 6 months or 6 or 12 months, I forget, something crazy amount of cash available in your reserves outside of your down payment to prove out that you're responsible for this.
There's definitely people who will like just put their every last like penny in. I'm so like, I would want like to just buy a place in cash if I can. I don't know.
I know, me like, too. I used to be a Dave Ramsey girl, Shelby.
No.
I know.
What?
I know.
No, what? No.
That's what started my debt-free journey.
Okay, I mean, that's good. It helped you. And then you were like, maybe a credit card isn't so bad.
You know what's funny is I have one YouTube video, and it's the one that went viral, and it was about how we paid off. It was our $120,000 of debt in 3 years, and it started with Dave Ramsey. And there are some people who are critical of me of even mentioning Dave Ramsey, and then there are other people who are critical of me for being critical of Dave Ramsey.
Oh, like, so he's just super polarizing.
So polarizing. But he is a believer in buying a house all cash. So I used to have that mindset too, and I was like,
wait, I think you need to like film something with him one day.
With him?
Yeah, that would be so funny.
I don't know I don't agree with him though.
Yeah, that's true. But just like, I just think it'd be kind of full circle. So basically it helped you get out of debt though. Like, because you had student loan debt. You didn't have like
Yes.
credit card debt, or did
No,
you
we
have,
did.
You had
Okay,
credit
so
card
Eugene
debt
and
too.
I got married when we were babies. I was 23 and he was 25. Hopefully he feels comfortable with me sharing this information publicly. But basically, we lived in Minnesota and we wanted to buy a house one day. Now, like maybe when I was 25, 27. And we were looking into information. We found out that Eugene's credit was very bad and was like, had all these credit cards open that we didn't know about. And so we ended up talking to his parents, and it ended up being that they had opened up all these credit cards under his name to help him out, but it ended up being that they just couldn't afford it. So they just had all these credit cards open. So we took it on, and then we took off all of our parent loans too. So like some of it was student loans, some of it was his car, some of it was his credit cards. And we were like, okay, I never want to be in this position again. I want to make as much money as possible to feel free to like live our life, but also like take care of our families.
Yeah.
And that was like the huge motivator for me to be like, I'm going to make a ton of money. And Dave Ramsey was like, you need to be gazelle-like intensity. And so if you knew me, that's his phrase. If you knew me from 24 to 28, like I did not spend money. Like I was ruthless about paying off debt.
It's a lot of discipline. Like you would not go out to eat as much, or like
if I did, it was to Chipotle.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like I still bought lattes, but like I never shopped. I never bought jewelry. I rarely bought makeup.
Like a vacation, no.
We did vacations once in a while, like credit card points to a trip to Seattle kind of thing. And then when I got my LinkedIn job and my salary increased significantly, it was all that money was going to debt. I feel like one thing that people don't know about you and maybe would be surprised to know about you.
What?
And I learned this about you every
unorganized?
time. No, I learned this about you every time we hang out. And it really makes me happy.
What?
Is that I feel like there is this perception of what is a person who likes money, like what their political orientation is, what they value. But you are someone that even though you value money and are transparent about money, you genuinely care about like all people.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Do you know what I mean?
I was like nervous. I was like, wait, what are you going to say?
You're I'm just kidding. You genuinely care about like how do all people thrive and how do all people succeed?
Think about it. I think it literally every single day I think about like fairness of the world and wealth inequality. It's taken over my mind like a virus. And like I watched all these videos about wealth inequality and I'm like, dang, like it's just hard. Like some people have, it's not that anyone has no chance. It's just harder now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't want it to be like that. I want there to be more. That's why I'm making this video about the billionaires that donated public space. I'm like, I think that's so cool.
I know people don't know that about you, I think. And I think it's I really love it.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I mean, I'm like definitely still just trying to get my bag too.
Yeah. Okay, I know we have to go, but there's this quote from the book, Michelle Obama's book, Becoming.
Ooh, should I read it?
Did you never read it? Shelby, this is from like 2018.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry, I'm not shaming you. Okay, but there's this quote when she first meets Barack and she says that like she is someone who grew up in the south side of Chicago. She was so focused on how does she get herself out of the community, and that Barack was so focused on how do we uplift the whole community, and how that was like a revelation for her. And I was like, wow, I really resonate with that mindset of like, how do I, like, you know what I mean? Like my parents sacrificed so much for me to succeed, but like, how do I balance that with also thinking like, how do we get all people in all generations to like.
Yeah, it is like you have to help yourself first. Like when you're on an airplane and they say you have to put the thing on you you got to be financially good before you can really help other people. So, but that's really cool. How did Barack, I'm like, how has he like evolved to that point already? Like,
okay, but then someone said he grew up in a more like comfortable family. So it's a little bit easier to be more like thoughtful in that way versus when you're in the shit, you're like, I need to get myself out of it.
Yeah. It's like survival mode.
Yeah. But what a great.
That's really interesting. Wow. Yeah. It's like the hierarchy of needs, or like I was thinking about this with like, cause with this video I'm making, I was at these museums and I was like, why do billionaires like, a lot of them will just like donate a museum. And I was like, like why art? And it's because like once you're at that level of like you have everything taken care of, like art is like something that you can prioritize when like you can't even like think about that if you're like trying to put food on the table.
Buy groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's probably why. And it's also like a status thing. It's like art.
But that's why I think people need to care about money, because if you're too busy doing the day-to-day, you can't like look up and be like, oh, bad things are happening in this country. Let's okay, I'll stop. But
I know. Okay, well,
okay,
we'll have to do another episode where like dang, the time went by really quick. Dang. Okay, but well, you guys can find Jenny on all of her social media channels. I'll link them below on the YouTube video and the podcast episode. And yeah, you should come back on. I feel like people are gonna, I mean, do you guys like this episode? Be nice. Okay. But I feel like I always love talking to you about this stuff. It's so interesting. Yeah. So would love to have you back.
Likewise. I'll be back.
Yes. Okay. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.